Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Arizona.
It's an Easter Sunday here at Salt River Fields at Talking Stick. The D-backs Easter basket has been full all spring. 20 wins in spring training play, the best record in the majors. And today it's the Colorado Rockies against the D-backs. Arizona Diamondbacks. Spring training baseball is presented by Ram Trucks. And good afternoon from Scottsdale. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way, and a happy Easter to everyone out there. It's the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, Ruby De La Rosa and Christian Bergman, the pitching matchup here on this Easter Sunday. But, Bob, the focus for the Diamondbacks is on all the competition for these middle infield jobs. We're into the last week now in spring training.
You know, usually when you have a competition like this, you're hoping one or two guys will step forward. But everybody that's been involved in this competition has had an outstanding spring, and they've shown what they needed to improve upon. For Gene Segura, you just wanted to see if he could be the same player he was when he was an all-star in 2013. He showed that so far this spring. Nick Ahmed, you need to see him drive the ball a little bit more. He's 7th in the Cactus League in slugging percentage. Chris Hoey's just needed to be healthy, show a little bit better plate discipline, and he's done that. He's 3rd on the team in walks this spring.
And I don't know where they put Brandon Drury and Jake Land. You got to figure that out. Both those guys are hitting at third base. It's going to be fun today on this Easter Sunday. It's Easter baseball for you on Fox Sports Arizona. The Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies. More from Salt River Fields coming up next.
Ford. The best play is at Sanderson Ford. Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. Cox Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you get more standard features for less money.
It's a bright Sunday here at Salt River Fields in Scottsdale, Arizona. Today, your Arizona Diamondbacks face against the Colorado Rockies. Ruby De La Rosa will be pitching today. There's a battle for the infield positions. Ruby has locked down the 4th position in the pitching roster. Today, he's going to be facing a very good Rockies team, trying to continue his performance during spring training like he has done in the previous 2 starts. Ruby De La Rosa, 27-year-old Dominican, a right-hander, looking to dominate today's game. It's going to be an impressive game on a beautiful Easter Sunday. We are live for some baseball, live from Scottsdale, Arizona, Salt River Fields. Coming up next, Arizona Diamondbacks against the Colorado Rockies.
Great offers on 5 exciting new models at Nissan now. Shop ChooseNissan.com today. By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. By Tire Pros. For the best selection of Continental and General brand tires, visit one of our 22 locally owned locations. By Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Double Jack Burger today, only at Jack in the Box. And by Valley Toyota. Visit your Valley Toyota dealer or shop online. Toyota, let's go places. It's a gorgeous Easter Sunday in Scottsdale, Arizona. The D-backs have enjoyed 9 straight sellouts here at Salt River Fields at Talking Stick. 10 this spring, averaging better than 11,700 fans per game. And just a perfect 84-degree Sunday. Steve Berthew, Bob Brentley, J.R. Cardenas along the way. And we're set for the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, BB, as we head into the final week of spring training action.
Yeah, we talked about it in our telecast the other day. The final week, for some guys, a very relaxed period. Just get your at-bats in, get your innings, get your defensive innings played. But for some guys, it's that time. Put up or shut up. Some of these guys that are on the roster right now may find themselves back in minor league camp by the end of the week. Some may find themselves at home by the end of the week. But always exciting that last week of spring training to see how the team kind of takes shape and takes the personality of the players that make that final roster.
And in D-backs camp, so many positions going right down to the wire here with everyone playing so well. Walt Weiss and his Rockies, 12 wins, 9 losses, and 3 ties this spring. And they are the road team today here in their spring training home in Scottsdale. It's a shared facility with the Diamondbacks.
And here's how manager Walt Weiss will line them up today. Christian Adames at shortstop. Gerardo Parra, the former D-back, out in left field. Nolan Arenado down at third base. Mark Reynolds at first. Ryan Rayburn in right field. Rafael Noah at second base. What's his name? Raimel Tapia in left field. Tony Wolters doing the catching. And Christian Bergman, the right-hander, on the mound.
And the Diamondbacks take the field. It's the 5th Cactus League start for Ruby De La Rosa, the 27-year-old right-hander. The ERA for Ruby blew up a bit after his previous start, which was last Tuesday here against the Giants. He allowed 5 earned on 7 hits in 5 2/3, but did have 9 strikeouts.
Yeah, and for Ruby, really the main concern is how deep can he get into the ball game today. He's twice pitched into the 6th, once in a minor league game, and his last time out, as you mentioned, against the Giants, he went 5 2/3. Like to see him be a little more economical with his pitches in the early part of the ball game, so Chip could extend him into the 6th or 7th inning.
Rockies will finish the week pretty much here at home every day. They play at Salt River every day for the next 5 days. 2 more meetings with the D-backs coming up here this week, Tuesday and Thursday, before opening up the regular season at Chase Field April 4, a week from tomorrow. It's the Diamondbacks defensively, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Center.
Dasmani Tomas in left, Jason Bourgeois in center, David Peralta over in right field. Brandon Drury will be at third base. You saw Nick Ahmed taking grounders there at shortstop. Gene Segura at second base. Paul Goldschmidt at first. Chris Herman doing the catching today for right-hander Ruby De La Rosa.
D-backs rolling 20 spring training wins, the most in the major leagues, and we are set to go against the Colorado Rockies. Christian Adames, the shortstop, will lead it off. Adames, a switch hitting shortstop prospect. He's at 286 this spring. And he's got some pop. 3 homers. He's knocked in 8. Drury on the grass at third, and there's strike 1, says Scott Berry, our plate umpire. Bob, it seems like all spring we've seen Ruby kind of struggle to settle in out there. Some rocky first innings.
Yeah, we talked about it his last start. Maybe you alter your warm-up procedure a little bit. Maybe start a little bit earlier, finish a little bit earlier, or start a little bit later and finish a little. You got to do something different. When you have trouble in that first inning, it would appear to be an easy fix, but until you find exactly what it is that works for Ruby, it's a process. You mentioned it before. Some guys like to finish their warm-ups in the bullpen, come in and sit down in the dugout as if it were between innings, and then go back out and take the mound to start the ball game. Other guys prefer to go straight from the warm-up mound to the game mound. Just trying to find that comfort zone for Ruby so he can get off to better starts.
Well, that's the start they're looking for. He strikes out Adames, 1 away.
Looked like a good hard slider down and in that time. A lot of left-handed hitters like that ball down and in, but that late movement took it right underneath the bat for strike 3.
And that is the key for Ruby this year. Keep that ball in exactly that spot against left-hand hitters. A big problem for him last year. Here's old friend Gerardo Parra. 267 for G in Cactus League play this year. He's homered twice, 9 RBIs. There it is again, that inside location on lefties for Ruby at strike 1. He can do that all year, Bob. It seems like he will be a very different pitcher this season.
No question about it. If he can command that fastball on both sides of the plate, makes a huge difference. Good straight change up there from De La Rosa. He's shown all his pitches already in the ball game. We're only on the second hitter. We've seen the good tailing fastball. We've seen the good hard slider and a really good change up right there.
Right-hand hitters last year batted only .214 against Ruby. But that opponent's batting average against left-handers was .315. So that's a riddle that's got to be solved this season. So far, so good. 0-2 on Parra. Out to Tomas and left. 2 outs.
Before they hit another one out there, we will alert our viewers, as we always do. Tough sun on the left side of the field early in the ball game here at Salt River Field.
The deadly Nolan Arenado, who's having a monster spring, steps in from the right-hand side at .545 with 3 home runs. He's got 12 RBIs. He's also doubled 7 times. But then again, what would you expect from the guy who led the league in home runs and RBIs last year? Jumps on the first one of the most aggressive hitters in the game. Knocks it into left, a 2-out single.
Well, if he could only play defense.
Yeah. 3 years in, 3 gold gloves. And he's only 24. He'll be 25 years old next month.
A couple of really special players right there side by side on first base. That'd be a good twosome to build around right there. Your corner infield is taken care of for years to come.
He'll take about 70 home runs and 250 or so RBIs from those spots. Here's Mark Reynolds, a new corner guy in Colorado. 294 with 2 homers. The former D-back. Reynolds signed a 1-year deal with the Rockies in December, and he will be the right-hand side of what looks like a first base platoon with the left-hand hitting Ben Paulson, although Walt Weiss has tended this spring to avoid using that P word. He just says they're going to share time, and they'll see how it goes. There's a strike, 1-1. Whilst Walt Weiss thinks that Reynolds and Paulson will basically split time evenly, but they're just going to let it go and see what happens. He's very comfortable with either guy, he says. Third base for Drury. Segura gets the lead man. They erase Arenado on the short way. And Ruby De La Rosa is through a scoreless top of the first.
Hales Ball Club with 20 wins this spring, the most of the major leagues. The D-backs' highest Cactus League win total is 23. That was in 2002 under manager Bob Brenly. Well, you had all the answers that spring.
Well, my players did. Here's how Chip's going to line them up this afternoon. Gene Segura leading off at second base. Brandon Drury at third base. Paul Goldschmidt at first. David Peralta out in right field. Yasmani Tomas in left. Chris Herman behind the plate with Jason Bourgeois in center. The pitcher, Ruby De La Rosa, batting eighth. And Nick Ahmed, the shortstop, hitting ninth.
Christian Bergman, 27-year-old right-hander, a swingman on this Rocky staff. He's sort of been their Josh Cole mentor. And with Colorado facing some rotation injuries right now, he makes his 5th appearance this spring, but just his 2nd start in what may amount today to an audition for a starting spot as they break camp. Gene Segura looks at strike one.
You saw from his numbers, he hasn't been hit hard this spring, but unlike Christian Bergman in the past, he has walked a few guys. Normally, he's always around the plate.
Well, Segura's remarkable spring continues. He steps in at .521. Opened up yesterday's game against the Brewers at Maryvale with a triple and scored the game's first run, but he knocks this one to Adames at shortstop. Let's take a look at the Rockies defensively. Our Eye on Defense brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Tapia, Parra, and Rayburn left to right across the outfield this afternoon for the Rockies. Nolan Arenado and Christian Adames on the left side of the infield. Rafael Noah and Mark Reynolds on the right side. It's Tony Walters doing the catching today for right-hander Christian Bergman.
Brandon Drury homered yesterday at Maryvale against Milwaukee. There's strike one. Brandon at third base. He's at .389. 4 homers. He's knocked in 11. He's also doubled 8 times. He does not want to go away. Bangs that off the bullpen wall. Brandon Drury make it 9 doubles. Tell you what, Drury Friday here against Cleveland was 3 for 4. Yesterday against Milwaukee, 4 for 4 with a home run. He will not stop hitting.
And we talked about the competition in the infield in the open of the show, and as you tagged it, what do you do with Phil Gosselin and Brandon Drury? Well, Brandon Drury's making so much noise here at the end of spring training. He's going to be a force. He is going to force some really, really tough decisions.
Paul Goldschmidt, 314. He's homered twice, including his 2nd of the spring yesterday. That came off Matt Garza at Maryville. Diamondbacks in that ball game yesterday. Segura tripled to lead it off. Owings a sac fly. Goldie homered, 3 batters in. It was 2-0, and off we go. It's been like that all spring long.
Other than a couple of base hits, it was good to see Goldie really turn on one yesterday. You know, I mean, he tries to stay up the middle of the field, left center to right center most of the time, but got a pitch to his liking on the inside part of the plate and just jerked it out of the ballpark to the left.
Funny, he and Arenado are very similar that way, Bob. They will just kill anything inside, anything inner third of the plate. Both those guys will turn on it in a heartbeat.
And especially when you think you have them set up to come inside. A slider away, change up away, fastball away, and then you try to sneak that one fastball by them on the inside part of the plate, and they're always ready for it.
And Arenado almost always seems a way to keep it fair. He keeps the ball in play when he pulls it like that, too. Goldie tends to use more of the whole field, as he mentioned. 2-2 now. Chased one there. Bergman gets him, 2 down.
Ball was elevated up and out over the plate. Good pitch to hit. Unfortunately, Goldie swings right through that one. I remember one of my first spring trainings in the major leagues, some of the veteran guys used to talk about setting up opposing pitchers to take advantage of them later in the season. I'm not saying that's what Goldie did right there, but boy, that was an elevated fastball about belt high out over the plate. Pitch that Goldie usually hammers. Maybe he's just setting him up.
Lurking in the weeds, waiting for a week from Monday. Peralta knocks that one fair down the left field line. It'll score Drury. Now, I know you went into the garage and cleaned out the prop department, so the freight train has an RBI double. The production value here continues to escalate.
I get all my props at Cracker Barrel. David Peralta just scalding that ball down into the left field corner. 2 hops the fence down there. Drury will score easily. David Peralta whistling into second base with an RBI double.
I see what you did there. A run in. Yasmani Tomas. 429 with 5 extra base hits, all doubles. He's knocked in 3. And again, up there swinging at the first pitch. It was funny, you look at Tomas's build right there. Chip Hale was talking about Tomas's spring yesterday and about all the work he put in with Nate Shaw, the Diamondbacks strength and conditioning coach. And Chip said, well, it's not so much that he lost weight, it was redistributed. So that's what I tell myself all the time. I've just redistributed some. So there's the distribution for Yasmani Tomas.
I don't know about your distribution, but mine's going to the wrong places.
Oh, it does. It's all south. 1-2. It's not that I'm gaining weight. I'm just redistributing. Yeah, that's
just rearranging the furniture. You know, you gotta move things around once in a while.
This is well hit. Right center. Parra backing up at the wall. It's off the wall. Peralta scores. Back-to-back 2-out RBI doubles for the Diamondbacks. Make it 2-0. No wind at all out there right now in right center. And Tomas knocks it off the wall.
Oh, it looked like a slider that backed up and stayed right on that inside part of the plate. A little bit of an inside-out swing that time from Tomas. Chasing former D-back Gerardo Parra all the way to the barrier out there in right center field. Back-to-back 2-out doubles put the D-backs ahead 2-0.
3 doubles in the inning for the Diamondbacks off Bergman. Here's the catcher, Chris Herman. Trying to make up for some lost time, pick up some at-bats this week. He's at 286 with a homer. He was sidelined for a while with a sore hip. Rockies are without their best young pitcher. It's the 24-year-old power right-hander John Gray. He was the 3rd overall pick in the draft 3 years ago. But he's out with an abdominal strain. That was confirmed by an MRI on Wednesday. Had to come out of a start Tuesday against Milwaukee after only 16 pitches. So Bergman seems the likely candidate at this point to fill that rotation spot. He is scheduled to throw 75 pitches today. He's their best option right now, the guy who essentially is the most stretched out. He's gone multiple innings in most of his relief appearances this spring. Although the Rockies have scheduled off days April 7 and 11, so they could go with just 4 starters at the very beginning of next month. th pitch of this inning on the way from Christian Bergman. Count is full, 3-2. Jason Bourgeois is on deck. He would be next.
called strike 3. Second strikeout in the inning for Bergman. But the Diamondbacks get 2 on 3 doubles. Drury starts it off. Then the freight train drives in the game's first run. Tomas's double makes it 2-0 Diamondbacks after 1.
As we head to the top half of the second inning, let's take a look at our keys to the ball game today. Brought to you by Valley Honda Dealers. Keep finding those Easter eggs. You know, if runs are the equivalent of Easter eggs in the game of baseball, and the Diamondbacks have been finding a bunch of Easter eggs this spring. And no Joe Walsh.
Now you got me on that one.
Well, when you lose to the Rockies at Coors Field, they play Rocky Mountain Way by Joe Walsh. And since this is half of their home ballpark, we don't want to hear Joe Walsh today. As much as I like Joe Walsh, not today.
They are the road team here. Veteran American Leaguer Ryan Rayburn will lead off the second. A very good first inning for Ruby De La Rosa. 12 pitches, 11 strikes. Rayburn just over 240 this spring. He's got 5 RBIs. Last year was a Cleveland Indian. 301 with 8 home runs. They just actually got Rayburn not too long ago. He signed with the Rockies on March 4th when they decided they needed to go someplace and find a right-hand bat. So here he is. Ruby 12 pitches, 11 strikes in that first inning. It starts out 3-0 on Rayburn. Rayburn's got some pop. 4 seasons of double-digit homers in the big leagues. He's a career .256 hitter. Parts of 10 seasons, 7 with the Tigers, the last 3 in Cleveland. Drury at third. Spins and throws. Nicely done by Brandon Drury.
Nice defensive play by Brandon Drury. Nice comeback there by Ruby De La Rosa after falling behind 3-0. Hard hit grounder, a few steps to Drury's left. Makes it into an easy play.
Brings up the second baseman, Rafael Inoa, who's had a very good spring, hitting .359 in 22 games. How about this? Inoa, a switch hitter. And he was exactly .260 from each side of the plate last year. So that makes things easy. guy was a very effective bat off the bench for Walt Weiss last year. Scrappy out is how Walt Weiss describes him. There are the platoon splits for Eno. A high bouncer to Segura at second. Segura yesterday was talking to the media after the ball game at Maryville, Bob, and he said, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not all that comfortable at second base. I would prefer to play shortstop. Now, it's not an attitude thing. He'll play wherever they need him to, but to be honest, it's still kind of a new deal for him over there.
Well, this guy that's played as many innings at shortstop as Segura has, certainly that's his most natural position where he doesn't have to think about every play. Anytime you change positions, even if it's moving one position to your left in the case of Segura, a lot of different responsibilities. The angles are different with the ball coming off the bat. Your responsibilities are a little bit different as a cutoff man depending on where the ball is hit. So maybe a little bit to learn, but he's such a good athlete. I think it's only a matter of time and a matter of more reps at that position until he does get comfortable.
Raimel Tapia, the left fielder, drives this out to Peralta. Drops in front, of base hit for Tapia, who looked very good here in the fall league not too long ago. A high energy guy, good top contact hitter up there. Well, Chris Owings used to talk about this, playing second base and playing shortstop, is when you've been at one and you go to the other, everything in a sense is reversed. The angles are all different. They're backwards, like looking into a mirror. Tony Walters, the catcher today. Spent last season with the Indians AA affiliate, the Akron Rubber Ducks. That's a terrifying nickname.
It is. Strikes fear into the hearts of their opponents.
Rubber Ducky, you're the one. Left center, Tomas will play it off the wall. This will get the run home. And Walters has an RBI double. It's 2-1. Back-to-back two-out hits for the Rockies off Ruby De La Rosa.
Walters puts a charge on that ball to the opposite field. Took a pitch out away from him. Stayed right on it. It's right at the edge of the warning track out there. With 2 outs in the inning, Tapia is off on contact and scores easily from first base.
The pitcher, Christian Bergman, now no DH today in the ball game. Fresh from a Civil War reenactment. At the facial hair. Confederates in the attic. One and two. Making Ruby work, approaching 30 pitches for the ball game. Ruby will start in the 4 spot in the Diamondback rotation. That means he gets the ball for that series opener against the Cubs a week from Thursday at Chase Field. First of a 4-game set. Slap the other way. Goldie has it. Ruby covers. And that's the inning. But the Rockies get one back. Bottom 2 on the way. Diamondbacks lead Colorado 2-1. Right now, get a great deal during Ram Truck Month. The Easter hats are out at Salt River Fields at Talking Stick. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly, J.R. Cardenas here. D-backs lead the Rockies 2-1 on just a gorgeous Easter Sunday. Happy Easter to everybody. Glad you're spending part of it with Diamondback baseball here on Fox Sports Arizona, as Jason Bourgeois set to lead off the D-backs second against the Rockies' Christian Bergman. Bourgeois starting in center today. And center field is a little murky right now. A.J. Pollock played in a minor league game against the Giants yesterday. Went 0 for 3 with a walk. And A.J. this morning took 5 at-bats in a camp game on a backfield out here. Faced Archie Bradley, and Chip Hale said afterward that his gut feeling is that A.J. would be ready for the opener against these Rockies next Monday. But they are not committing to that at this point.
It's really a touch and go kind of a thing. A.J. Pollock hasn't played in a Cactus League game. He's played in some of the minor league games. Some of them he was able to swing, others he was able to only bunt. But if you play him in a Cactus League game, you can retroactive his DL back to the last game that he played in the Cactus League. So since he hasn't played for quite some time, if you decided he needed to start the season on the disabled list, it would be backdated, and he may only miss a series or two. But if you play him in a game here in the last week of the season and something, God forbid, happens to that right elbow, and now you have to put him on the DL, he has to serve the full 15 days during the regular season.
So it really is a fine line here. 2-1 on Bourgeois. Do you rush him back? As this one is lifted along the right field line. Rayburn's out there. Do you rush him back and try and get in as many at-bats in the final week of spring training for A.J. as you can, or do you keep him on the backfields and in the minor league games, keep him out of the Cactus League games, and leave your options open?
It seems, without knowing all the specifics of A.J. and his elbow and all the other roster decisions that the Diamondbacks have, it would seem to make the most sense to keep him out of the Cactus League games for this last week, just in case you need to backdate a disabled list stint. I mean, he can get as many at-bats as you need to get him over on the minor league side every day. The question is, is that enough competition? Is that enough to get the juices flowing for A.J. facing minor league pitching over on the other side of the complex here?
Well, when guys throw, like today, they got him in there against Archie Bradley, who's obviously a major league quality pitcher. It's not like he's back there looking at Scruffy McScrufferson for 5 or 10 at-bats. You can sort of manipulate it the way you want.
Sure.
And he can just stand in there and at least look at pitches. Chip threw batting practice to A.J. yesterday and said he hit the ball very well. Here's a bouncer to Adames at shortstop, 2 outs.
Really, with all the good news and the lofty numbers that we've seen from the Diamondbacks this spring, that's really been the only hiccup, was A.J. and his availability, and will he be ready for opening day? Can he throw? Can he swing the bat? That's really been the only, if you call it a negative, that we've seen in camp this spring.
It would seem that whatever you have to do, the one thing is you have to make absolutely certain that he's 100% and this elbow thing is behind him, and as he says, he doesn't have to think about it anymore. What a spring it's been for Nick Ahmed. 412, 10 extra base hits, 11 RBIs. Nick has hit safely in 14 of his 16 games this spring.
I think even more important than that is the kind of hits that he's getting. We touched on it in the open of the show. He's driving the ball, hitting the ball in the gaps and down the line, which is what I think the Diamondbacks wanted to see from Nick this spring. We've talked about the competition and who's going to show up, who's going to fall by the wayside, and all these guys refuse to step aside. It's my job.
Usually the narrative kind of takes care of itself in a lot of these situations. Somebody sort of fades near the end of spring training, but that's not been the case here. Two and two. Called strike 3. Third strikeout for Bergman. Works a 1-2-3 second. Diamondbacks lead the Rockies 2-1.
River Fields. Hey fans, secure your tickets now for D-backs opening day at Chase Field on Monday, April 4th. First pitch is 6:40 against the Colorado Rockies. Zach Greinke will make his pitching debut for the Diamondbacks in that game. It's one that you just do not want to miss, so visit dbacks.com for details.
Third inning in Scottsdale. D-backs 2, Rockies 1. And a happy Easter to everybody. Christian Adames leads off the Rockies' third. He struck out his first time up against Ruby De La Rosa. D-backs got 2 in the home half of the first on 3 doubles. Drury, Peralta, Tomas. Rockies got 1 back, top 2. Tony Walters. A 2-out RBI double, and that's all the scoring so far. Rockies still without Jose Reyes. Adames is at shortstop today. Reyes is on that MLB mandated paid suspension pending a decision from Commissioner Rob Manfred on his domestic violence case. But in the meantime, they have found their shortstop. This one is lifted into right center, and it drops in. It's not Adames, it's Trevor Story, who is not here today. The Rockies' first-round pick from 5 years ago. Trevor Story, a 23-year-old, has had a huge spring. He's leading the Rockies with 5 home runs, and it looks like he will be the shortstop on opening day with Reyes out. Gerardo Parra flied out his first time. That Reyes thing could get sticky for Colorado. The Rockies with Reyes are on the hook for $22 million per season for this year and next year.
Ouch.
Yeah. Parra's got an equipment situation. But just when it looked like they could be in deep trouble at shortstop, they've got this kid Story, and what a story he's been. 381 this spring with 5 home runs.
Haven't seen any of Story myself this spring, but looking at his numbers, he appears to be ready. Yeah, he's hitting the ball, taking his walks. Apparently a plus defender at shortstop.
First round pick out of high school in Irving, Texas 5 years ago. So it's a new look to the Rockies in some regard this year. Story looks like he's the shortstop. Cargo is back. Tulo obviously moved on at midseason last year, and they've added Gerardo Parra, so good to see Parra get his money back in the National League West. Got a 3-year, $28 million deal. This is lifted out to his old buddy Peralta. David is there. So they're trying to find some answers in Colorado, and so far nothing's worked. So this is the latest version put together by the front office. They did some work on the bullpen. They got Jason Mott, Jake McGee in that trade with Tampa Bay. They gave up Corey Dickerson, who was really one of their better hitters.
The search continues for the Colorado Rockies. We had a lot of fun with that last year, talking about how do you build a team to win in Colorado and win on the road as well. And they've been searching for a long time, and it usually revolves around that bump in the middle of the field, trying to find somebody that can get outs at Coors Field.
And as we mentioned, their best young pitcher, John Gray, is out. But they have Nolan Arenado. Singled in his first at bat. The defending National League home run and RBI champion from last year. Careful inside. Yep. Tomas at the wall, and it's off the wall. Adames had to hold up. Arenado's a double. As we mentioned earlier, anything inside to this guy, he will absolutely turn on it and kill you.
We also talked earlier about the sun in left field, or the left side of the field rather. I'm not sure Tomas had a beat on that ball. Absolutely crushed. As you mentioned, he just wears out inside pitches and lifts it high in the air to left. Tomas looked like he had a beat on it right there, but just didn't get all the way back to the barrier. One more step back and he probably makes that play, but comes up a little bit short. Rockies have him at second and third with one out.
For Mark Reynolds, the first baseman, the former Diamondback. Because it looked like Tomas might make a play on that. Adames had to hold up, so he stops at third. Reynolds grounded out his first time up and into a fielder's choice, swinging a miss, 0-1. Rockies, for a team that led the National League in runs last year, somehow did it while getting very little production from first base, which is a premium power position. And that's one reason they brought in Reynolds. Colorado first baseman last year hit just 20 home runs. That was next to last in the league. And so here's a guy that's hit a few home runs in his day on a one-year deal. A ball and 2 strikes. Reynolds, a .287 career hitter at Coors. Somebody asked Walt Weiss, well, why Reynolds? And he said, because he hits a lot of really long fly balls that land on the other side of the fence. They had some struggles last year against left-hand pitching, so they've tried to strengthen the right side of the plate. Did he go? No, he did not. And it's 2-2.
Reynolds has hit his share of home runs, 237 in his major league career. But he has a tendency to swing and miss a little bit too. Diamondbacks fans well aware. What season was that? 2009. Struck out 223 times.
He did hit 121 home runs while wearing Sedona red, including 44 during the 09 season. Oh, he doesn't get the call there, and it's full 3-2. Ruby may have wanted that one. Chris Herman to the mound now.
Herman did a nice job of holding that ball right on the outside corner. You may have noticed he kind of caught it up near the webbing of the glove so he could keep the majority of his mitt in the strike zone, but did not fool Scott Berry behind the plate.
41 pitches, 31 for strikes. Is that pitch framing?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of pitch framing, but absolutely use the entire glove. You know, catch that ball in the webbing of the glove and keep the rest of the mitt in the strike zone. You can occasionally buy a strike for your pitcher.
3-2 pitch. They're loaded. First walk issued by Ruby De La Rosa, and now he'll work to Ryan Rayburn. It was in these moments last year when Ruby was at his best that he would get that ground ball double play and get out of a jam just like this one. Bases full, 1 out. Adames is at third, Arenado at second, and Reynolds at first. Rayburn grounded out his first time up. That's in the seats. So we'll see if Ruby can work with that two-seam sinking fastball and get something on the ground here. That was a big weapon for him at times last year. A ground ball percentage of 49%, which was a career high. Put him top 25 among all major league starters. Interesting today to see Ruby work with someone other than Wellington Castillo back there, and some communication problems with Chris Herman.
Yeah, Ruby and Wellington worked so good together last year. Wellington was the whisperer. He had the ability to calm Ruby down when things would get moving a little too quickly for him, but you'd like to see how he reacts with a different catcher back there. Chris Herman getting the nod this afternoon, and they just couldn't get on the same page for this 1-1 pitch.
Missed there, 2 balls and 1 strike. Ruby with that power stuff, especially effective in these situations when that two-seam fastball is working. Busting down and in on right-hand hitters. Righties hit only .214 versus Ruby last year. That put him top 10 in the National League. That's a called strike, 2-2.
Well, if Ruby learned anything last year, as you get a look at those numbers last season against lefties and righties, if he learned anything last year, it's when you're in a jam, you got the bases loaded, take a look behind you at that defense. Force the opposition to put the ball in play. Throw a good quality strike on the outside part of the plate. Hopefully get Rayburn to hit a hard ground ball right at one of your defenders.
He's set up out there and he waves at it. Second strikeout for Ruby. 2 down.
Strikeout will work too. Good one out away from Rayburn that time.
That was the location you were calling for right there. Beautifully done.
I learned from Roger Craig, my former manager, who was a tremendous pitching coach before he was a tremendous manager. But in double play situations one time, I called for a fastball inside, jammed the living daylights out of the batter, and he hit a dribbler that was too slow to turn 2. And he said, if you're looking for a double play ball, you're better off working on the outer part of the plate where the batter is more likely to get the big part of the bat on the ball and hit it hard on the ground. That's what we want. Doesn't always work that way, but I learned from a good one, so I'm going to stick that one in the memory bank and hang on to it.
Rafael Inoa. Bases full, 2 outs. That's slapped into left, a fair ball, and this is big trouble. Adames scores, Arenado comes in. They're going to wave Reynolds in from first. Tomas has issues picking it up, and it's a 3-run double. 4-2 Colorado. Yasmani looked like he had some issues there against the bullpen wall out there in the left field corner. A power surge here, and the truck, which controls all the pictures, lost power. So we had to reset things and reboot, but we are back and good to go here as we start the fourth inning. When last we left you, Rafael Ynoa had a 3-run double in the top of the third for the Rockies against Ruby De La Rosa. Tapia and Walters followed with RBI doubles of their own as Ruby wound up with a 29-pitch third inning, during which he gave up 5 hits, 4 of them doubles. And so that gave the Rockies a 6-2 lead. Diamondbacks in the home half of the third. Segura led off with a single. Drury on a 3-2 pitch popped up, and then Goldie hit into a double play. So that ended the Diamondback third. And we're set for the fourth inning. Rockies have out-hit Arizona 8-4. They lead it 6-2. And Christian Adames will lead it off. Somebody was looking for Easter eggs and pulled the plug. Nothing in there but electricity, which we need to broadcast Diamondback baseball.
Well, somebody anticipated a bad inning from Ruby De La Rosa. He really, we talk about losing his focus early in the ball game. Had a pretty solid first inning today, but it reared its ugly head there again in the third inning. Just throwing pitches right down the middle of the plate didn't seem to have much purpose. And yeah, rather than step off the mound and regroup, get your mind right, execute quality pitches, he just kept flinging for the middle of the strike zone. The Rockies made him pay.
4 doubles and a walk in a span of 6 batters for the Rockies in that Colorado third. And now Ruby at 60 pitches. Ahead of Adames, 1-2. Right center field, Peralta, Bourgeois. It'll be Jason Bourgeois, the center fielder, and that's the first out in the fourth.
Nice communication there before and after the play. I think David Peralta initially thought he was going to have to make the play. Took a quick peek at Bourgeois, who came over and called David off the play and made the catch easily out there in right center field. Never too early to start communicating out there in the outfield.
Especially if there's a chance Bourgeois is your opening day center fielder with A.J. Pollock's elbow still acting up. But that remains to be seen over the final week of spring training. Gerardo Parra 0 for 2. He is twice flat out. Parra split last season between the Brewers and the Orioles. He was sensational in Milwaukee to start the year. And in fact was one of the best hitters in the league for much of last season. He hit nearly .330 through 100 games in Milwaukee, but then was dealt to Baltimore. But now he's back in the NL West, a new home in Colorado with a 3-year contract. This is sky high above the infield. Drury near the mound, Segura now. And he's got it, 2 outs.
Once again, good communication right there. Any one of 3 or 4 players could have made the catch on that high pop-up. Segura, the guy that had the best angle away from the sun, was closest to the ball, so he calls Goldie and Brandon Drury off of this one and makes the play.
Nolan Arenado has singled, doubled, and scored a run. He's 2 for 2. And he came into the ball game hitting .545 this spring. He has become an absolute force at the plate. Led the league in RBIs, tied Bryce Harper for the league lead in home runs. Finished 3rd in the majors, 43 doubles. And led baseball in total bases. He's got those Barney batting gloves on too, that Rocky purple. Those are some gloves, man.
We borrowed those from Dinger.
Well, Dinger doesn't need them. He doesn't usually show up till the end when they're winning.
Dinger, the front-running mascot.
He's my arch enemy.
He's your Youpie.
He's my Lex Luthor. Rolled to shortstop, right to Nick Ahmed. They retire Arenado, and Ruby, a nice bounce back fourth. He works a 1-2-3 inning, but the Diamondbacks trail the Rockies 6-2.
Four hits, 0 errors for the Diamondbacks. Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. A day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Easter Sunday at Salt River Fields at Talking Stick. Steve Berthew, Bob Brentley, and J.R. Carlin is here with you. Where the D-backs trail the Rockies 6-2, sent for the home half of the fourth. Peralta, Tomas, and Herman 4, 5, and 6 against Christian Bergman. Peralta, an RBI double. He scored a run his first time up. Rockies will shift defensively. They'll overload the right-hand side against Peralta. At the shortstop, Adames behind the bag at second, and Arenado, as he so often is, all by himself on the left-hand side of the infield. Usually teams, Bob, have the shortstop over there, but this guy, 3 years in, 3 Gold Gloves, he can handle that whole side all alone.
Yeah, no problem. Good range, tremendous throwing arm.
In the air, left center, Gerardo Parra can't get it. The freight train's at it again. He's thinking 3, and here he goes. Peralta's in there with a triple. I love that. A double and a triple so far.
Wow, a lot of extra base hits in this ball game today. Hitters finding the gaps in those foul lines. Chases Parra all the way to the wall out there in left center field, and as always, David just only knows one way to run the bases. Easy triple to start the inning.
And that's why we call him the freight train. You think of the old Johnny Cash song, Wreck of the Old 97. He's like that big train coming down the mountain off the tracks, full speed ahead. Tomas an RBI double in his first at bat today. Now, do you have a whistle container, because you're going to have to take that on the road all year long?
We'll figure something out. Yeah, this is very valuable now to the telecast. We'll have to hang on to this.
It's part of the fabric of things now. Right to Arenado at third. Hang with him, Yasmani. I noticed since you've brought the whistle, and this is day one, he's 2 for 2 with 2 extra base hits.
Coincidence?
I think not.
I think not. I got to tell you a funny story about props in the booth. When I was working radio in Chicago after my playing career was over, they signed George Bell, the Toronto Blue Jays outfielder. The Cubs signed him probably a few years too late. But in spring training, working with Harry Carey on WGN radio, he says, "Yeah, we got to have a bell in the booth, so when he hits a home run, we can ring the bell." So,
oh, come on, man.
Come on. Try somebody else. Don't hit him to the Gold Glovers. Anyway, I stopped on the way home that day and bought a bell that you would put on a bicycle handlebars.
All right, sure.
Ding, 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 ding. No, that wasn't good enough for her. What kind of bell is that? That doesn't exactly inspire a guy. So I ended up going to a place that sold like for the bell choir at a church.
Yeah,
and,
with a little handle on it.
Yeah, bought one with a little bass in it, a little more manly sounding bell than the bicycle bell I had.
You brought the wrong bell. Got to keep Harry happy. You knew what you were doing.
What kind of bell is that?
That's down the right field line, but headed for the bullpen.
Hey.
Well, you hit a home run with a whistle. That's perfect. Sounds just like a train whistle. He's at third with 2 outs.
Talking about the last week of spring training, Jason Bourgeois, perfect example of a guy whose attitude and opinion about what he was doing this spring may have changed in this last week. I mean, he's well aware of the fact that A.J. Pollock hasn't played in the game for a long time and getting a lot of at-bats, a lot of opportunities to show what he can do.
Well, he's got 6 RBIs in his last 7 games, but it's a 10-pitch 4th inning for Bergman. He leads at 6-2. buy Ram trucks right now. Get a great deal during Ram Truck Month. Salt River Fields at Talking Stick, 5th inning here. D-backs trail the Rockies 6-2. Colorado has out-hit the Diamondbacks 8-5 so far. Mark Reynolds, the former D-back, leads it off against Ruby De La Rosa. He walked and scored his last time up. Ruby, after a bumpy 3rd inning during which we lost power, that's how rough it was. Gave up 5 runs on 5 hits. 4 of the hits were doubles, but bounced back with a nice 1-2-3-4. And now he's ahead of Reynolds 0-2.
Boy.
Got away with one there. That's way too good of a pitch on a 1-2 count to Mark Reynolds, a guy that'll chase out of the zone up. He'll chase away. He'll chase down and in. Pitch was up over the heart of the plate.
Reynolds, Rayburn, Ynoa here in the Colorado 5th. Can't make a mistake against this guy. Especially Ruby, who gave up 32 home runs last year in 32 starts. A big issue for him last season. Only Kyle Kendrick and James Shields gave up more home runs last year than Ruby De La Rosa. Colorado today, 8 hits, 5 of them doubles. Center field, a base hit for Reynolds, leadoff single. Brings up Ryan Rayburn. Rayburn has grounded out and struck out 0 for 2. Just over 200 plate appearances with Cleveland last year. He hit .301, had 8 homers. Just signed with the Rockies on March 4th. Ball 1. Nice save there by Herman to keep Reynolds at first.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it, a save.
Yeah.
You can't really get out there that far to block this pitch. Ruby pulls it way over in that left-handed batter's box. Herman does the only thing he can do, just reach across, try to pick it clean out of the dirt, and he does so perfectly.
This has been a relationship in progress, it seems, all afternoon between these two.
Yeah, we've seen more shaking today from Ruby De La Rosa than we normally do when Wellington Castillo's behind the plate. Occasionally it's just been location. He wants to throw his fastball to the other side of the plate, but they've had some issues, especially when Ruby gets ahead in the count.
He's behind here, 2-0. But that's to be expected. You got a new catcher in camp. It's going to happen. Can't have Wellington Castillo catch him every time.
And eventually, as a catcher, you kind of learn guys out there on the mound. You learn against a right-handed power hitter on a 1-2 pitch. He likes to elevate a fastball, or he likes to throw a slider off the outside corner of the plate. And against a left-handed slap hitter that's a high on-base percentage, stolen base kind of a guy, he just wants to throw all fastballs up and out over the plate, try to get him to hit the ball in the air to left field. You learn the idiosyncrasies of every pitcher on your staff eventually after more work behind the plate. And Chris Herman going to school today.
Bourgeois in center. It's a running backhand catch. Reynolds back to the bag at first. One away. Managers don't like to see those personal catcher situations, do they? I know Dave Roberts, for instance, is fighting that with the Dodgers this year with A.J. Elson, Clayton Kershaw. They don't even like to use the term.
No, I mean, you know, it happens usually by accident. Greg Maddux used to say, hey, our backup catcher's going to catch one game a week. I want it. I'll take the backup catcher. So he always threw to other than Javier Lopez or other than whoever the starting catcher was. He always threw to the backup guy and got on the same page, really sat down, talked about strategies and pitch sequences with his personal catcher. But then, of course, the issue you run into, if personal catcher breaks a finger, now what do you do? Yeah. Now you got to break in a new one. We had that in 01 in the World Series. Damian Miller came down with a stiff neck during batting practice, and Curt Schilling, you know, he liked to throw to Damian. Everybody liked to throw to Damian. Why not? And right after batting practice was over, we had to make the flip and put Rod Barajas behind the plate for Schill, and he did a great job calling the game, catching the game, and Rod even hit a home run in that ball game at Yankee Stadium. But it can be upsetting to a pitcher when you are so familiar and so accustomed to having the same guy behind the plate who knows what you like to throw in certain situations, who knows your trigger points when things start to go bad. And when you don't have that security blanket back there behind the plate, it can upset some guys.
And also with Ruby and Welly, they were Little League teammates in the Dominican Republic, so there's a language issue too. Now Ruby speaks, his English is perfectly fine, but that's still one more thing to think about out there and sort of navigate. A ball and 2 strikes on Rafael Linoa. Reynolds at first, 1 out, and he bluffs and holds. Herman will give it a look back there. 2-2 now. Down there with EY Senior coaching first.
Diamondbacks saw EY Jr. yesterday over in Maryvale playing for the Brewers.
Junior just got sent down today, option to the Brewers minor league system. Hard to short. Ahmed Segura for 1. Little double clutch, but they roll the double play anyway. That was hit hard right to shortstop. A nice stop by Ahmed, and Segura makes the turn. A little bobble maybe at second as he searches for the ball here. But they get the double play. D-backs trail at 6-2. Fox Sports Arizona will air a special tribute to the legendary Hall of Famer Joe Garagiola. As we look back on Joe's amazing life and career, you can learn about the historical impact he had and hear from those who have been touched by Joe. It's Joe Garagiola, a celebration. It airs this Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. and again at 10:30 only on Fox Sports Arizona. Pitcher spot will lead off the Diamondback fifth, and Ruby De La Rosa will take the AB against Christian Bergman, who's got a 6-2 lead. And what may be an audition for him for a starting role here with John Gray injured. Ruby grounded out in his first at bat. Bergman said the other day one of his strengths is being able to adapt. He does have a little experience in pretty much all those roles, starting and relieving. He's done both, it seems, his whole career, so he does have routines to fall back on, and says he knows how to handle it. He's done this his whole minor league career as a starter and enjoys being out there, and that's really what he'd like to do, is be a starting pitcher. And he's got his opportunity here with some injuries. One away.
This is one of those situations where batting your pitcher in the 8th spot followed by a position player maybe hurts you. You'd like to have a regular position player leading off the inning here in the 8th spot, and then the pitcher behind him to possibly bunt him up if he gets on base. But that's a chance you take when you flip the pitcher in that into the 8th spot and a position player into the 9 spot.
It's like a defensive shift. Sometimes they're going to hit away from the shift, but the percentages work out where it makes sense to do it. Chip had said at the very start of spring training he'd like to bat the pitcher 8th a lot this year, and he's been very consistent with it so far in the Cactus League games.
He might want to hit Zach Greinke 5th this year a few times.
Nick Ahmed struck out looking at his first at bat. Laces this one down the right field line. Rayburn on the run in the corner. He won't get there. And Ahmed's got another extra base hit. It rolls away. Nick will get third base here. And he's in there standing up. That'll be 11 extra base hits this spring for Nick Ahmed.
Boy, and the difference from last year is just stark. This ball is driven down into the right field corner. Last year he might have carved one, a little floater down the right field line that just lands fair. This year he drives that ball down into the right field corner, and with his speed he's able to easily turn that into a triple with one out in the inning. Boy, such a difference. The ball coming off of Nick's bat this spring.
He really bristled at the idea that he might be neglecting his hitting or any part of his game for that matter when things came up about his offense earlier in camp. And he says last year's behind him, he'd rather not talk about it anymore. Got a lot better in the offseason, and he sure looks like he's moved on. Segura singled in his last at bat. "14 Cactus League games so far. Segura has scored 13 runs and knocked in 9. And he will be the leadoff man. That's what Chip Hale wants. And there's another reason why he's at it again. Another multi-hit game for Gene Segura. And it's a 6-3 ball game. He's hit safely in 14 of his 15 Cactus League games.
A nice controlled swing here. Pitches on the outside corner of the plate, but kept his nose right in the strike zone and barreled that one up back up the middle of the field for an RBI hit.
The red-hot Brandon Drury. He has doubled, scored a run, and popped up 1 for 2. The double is 9th this spring. He's also homered 4 times and knocked in 11. And they've been coming in bunches lately for Brandon. 3 for 4 here Friday against the Indians. 4 for 4 at Maryville yesterday versus the Brewers. This is the one guy, Bob, and again it comes down to depth versus optionable depth, meaning options. You can Send him to the minors if you run out of spots so he can get some at bats. But Brandon is the one guy who might be, because of that, most affected by the numbers crunch here.
Yeah, you could be right.
Because I can't think right now the way Jake Lamb is hitting the ball and everybody else in the middle of the infield, and Brandon's as good as anybody offensively and defensively for that matter. But it's just hard to figure out a place to put him right now.
We'll see when the rosters are finally made after the 2 exhibition games against the Royals at Chase Field next weekend. But we got to figure this guy's going to get a lot of playing time at the major league level. If not at the very beginning of the season, at some point during the 2016 season, we will see Brandon Drury up here contributing.
He is a major league talent. Ahead 2 balls and 1 strike. Segura at first. This is hammered to left. And Tapia runs it down just shy of the wall out there. Even his outs are loud these days.
Yeah, might have gotten in on him just enough. Got that ball down toward the trademark just a little bit. Didn't get the same kind of carry that he normally gets. And as it is, still chased Tapia all the way to the fence in left field.
Diamondbacks did make 1 roster move before the game today as Goldie steps in. They sent Matt Reynolds to AAA Reno. But that still means there are 40 guys here in camp, so that's 15 more players that need to be moved before opening day, so it's still crowded here. This is high in the air, left center field, way back and gone. Paul Goldschmidt, another home run for Goldie, and suddenly the Diamondbacks have struck back here. It's a 6-5 ball game. That's his 3rd this spring. He homered yesterday at Maryvale, and he homers again today here at Salt River Field.
I mentioned the one yesterday at Maryvale was pulled straight to left field. This is more the Goldschmidt home run we're used to the big part of the field just to the left of straightaway center.
You know,
loud noise.
That, Bob, looked a lot like the pitch that you talked about back in the 1st on which he struck Goldie out. Same kind of location, sort of up and away a little bit out over the plate, and Goldie did not let that one go by.
He was setting him up.
You were right. So now suddenly it's a 1-run ball game, and Peralta, who has doubled and tripled, steps in. And the freight train is all over the tracks today. It started out in the 1st inning, an RBI double. And then a triple to lead off the 4th.
I really like the swing on that double. He let the ball get deep. It wasn't a bad pitch down and out over the plate, but stayed right on it.
He's our Nissan high excitement player today. But he strikes out here. Diamondbacks get 3. It's a 6-5 game now as we head to the 6th inning. 6-5 ball game now as Goldie's day is done. Some defensive changes behind Ruby De La Rosa.
My work here is done.
Well, it's been quite a day offensively already for the Diamondbacks. They've got 8 hits, 3 doubles, 2 triples, 2 singles, and a home run. Kevin Crone takes over at first base for Goldie. You got a new second baseman. It was number 83. Of course, there's no number 83 in the roster.
Of course not.
So that's not going to work. Tapia 3 for 3. He leads off the 6th. Glazman has replaced Peralta in right. Bourgeois still in center. And still Yasmani Tomas in the left. Drury and Ahmed are still in there. Chip Hale out to the mound now. Chris Herman still behind the plate. There is action in the Diamondback bullpen. That's Daniel Gibson, the left-hander.
Perhaps one of those teaching moments for Chip Hale right here. Sprinted out to the mound to talk to Ruby De La Rosa. Just speculating, but perhaps he told him, hey, you know, the offense got you back into this ball game. Don't let it slip away again. Really focus on every pitch. Know exactly what it is you're trying to do to that hitter at the plate.
Tony Walters, a pair of RBI doubles. He's 2 for 2. I think we've determined by process of elimination that the second baseman is Sean Jameson. But don't hold us to it.
I believe you're right. I'm going with that.
It's got a different number on out there. That always helps. Some of these guys come up from minor league camp and they played in maybe 1 or 2 Cactus League games. And suddenly there they are out there. Walters tries to get the bunt down, but it rolls foul. Gibson ready down there in the D-back bullpen. Chip Hale giving Ruby De La Rosa one more up down. Back out there to start the 6th at just under 90 pitches. There's Gibson. Pitcher spot is up next for the Rockies. Ben Paulson in the on-deck circle. Yeah. Right to Crone. And they double off Tapia, 2 down. Kevin Crone, a nice play. Quickly 2 outs.
The Diamondbacks had a couple line drives hit right at the third baseman, Nolan Arenado. And this time the Rockies hit a line drive right at a corner infielder, and Crone turns it into an easy double play.
So Paulson is announced as the hitter for Bergman, the pitcher. He's hitting just under 240 this spring. He's knocked in 11 runs. He'll take the at-bat. Diamondbacks have the shift on. And that's what the Diamondbacks look like defensively. Nick Ahmed all by himself on that left-hand side. Got Brandon Drury playing essentially in the second base spot, and Jamison, the second baseman, out there in short right. Paulson will be the other half of the first base platoon with Mark Reynolds this year. Left-hand batter. Played mostly first for Colorado last year. Hit .277 with 11 home runs.
Yeah, like a lot of major league players, he makes his home here in the Valleys. Lives in Tempe, Arizona in the offseason.
He's a Clemson Tiger, third-round pick by the Rockies in '09.
It'll be a long time before the Rockies find a replacement that can put up the kind of numbers and provide the kind of leadership that Todd Helton did for so many years. Nothing against Ben Paulson or Mark Reynolds, but Todd Helton set the bar pretty high.
And Tulo's gone now, so it really has become, in that sense, Nolan Arenado's team this year. And that's a lot to ask for a guy who's not yet 25 years old. Scott Oberg warming up. As Paulson hits for the pitcher, that's a rocket in the Rockies dugout. Look out.
Although that is something Todd Helton used to do a lot of. Pull balls into his own dugout over there on the first base side. You try to come in on Todd Helton. We talked about Goldie and Nolan Arenado being quick inside. Todd Helton could pull a bullet on the inside part of the plate.
There he is. .3-2 is lifted in the air and dropped into left center field. And it rolls to the wall. Bourgeois plays the carom. Paulson has a two-out double. This has been a game of extra base hits for both sides.
Everything put in play is either finding a gap or one of the foul lines. This one into the gap in left center field. Paulson pulling all those balls foul down the first baseline, and with each successive foul ball, Jason Bourgeois moved a little farther and farther over into the gap in right center, and Paulson shoots the ball back to the gap in left center.
That's the sixth double by Rockies hitters today, and the end for Ruby De La Rosa. We'll take a break in Scottsdale. D-backs trail the Rockies 6-5.
Hits, Diamondbacks 5 runs on 8 hits. Hey fans, we invite you to customize your own ticket package with the D-backs mini plan. Choose from opening day, a big series against the Cubs or the Yankees or the Rockies. bobblehead games, or any combination you choose. Save over single game prices with a 6 or 10 game mini plan. Buy now at dbacks.com.
New pitcher for the Diamondbacks as Ruby De La Rosa's day ends right here. It's the 24-year-old left-hander out of University of Florida, Daniel Gibson, 7th round pick by the Diamondbacks 3 years ago. He split his minor league season last year between Class A Visalia and AA Mobile. Put up some impressive numbers. Not easy pitching in that Cal League with the Visalia Rawhide. But a 1.61 ERA in 27 appearances, all in relief. And then he went up to AA Mobile and did just as well. Had an ERA of 1.5 for Robbie Hammock and the Bay Bears. Did show a sudden rise in his walk totals last year. Daniel had some occasional control issues at the AA level. But one of the bright young arms in this Diamondback system. Christian Adames singled and scored in the third, 1 for 3. He's up there with 2 outs and Paulson at second. Twelve extra base hits in this ball game between the two teams. 9 doubles, 2 triples, and a home run. Paulson at second after his 2-out double. Ball 1. Inside, got behind Herman, almost hit Adames in the foot. Paulson moves up 90 feet.
That's that ball in the outside corner. It's all the way across the plate, off the plate inside, and near the feet of the hitter, Adames. Once again, not much Chris Herman could do on that one.
There's a strike, 2-1. Adames is a switch hitter. He hit better from the right-hand side during his month in the big leagues last year. Had a good season with AAA Albuquerque. Hit .311 there with 11 home runs. He's homered 3 times this spring. And Gibson comes in, gets the strikeout, strands that runner. Bottom 6 coming up. Diamondbacks trail at 6-5.
They trail the Rockies 6-5. Here's Tomas with an RBI double in the first. It's our Chaz Roberts Cool play of the game.
A day of extra base hits. Yasmani Tomas double among all the extra base hits.
12 between the two teams, including 9 doubles. And a new pitcher for the Rockies. Scott Oberg is out there replacing Christian Bergman. And he's got some defensive changes behind him. New battery, in fact. Jackson Williams is the new catcher behind the plate. Tomas a double, and he lined out right to Arenado at third his last time up. So he's 1 for 2. The numbers on Oberg. 4.91 ERA in 8 appearances. First pitch swinging, a slow roller. Oberg has no play. Yasmani's aboard. Pinch runner now comes in for Yasmani Tomas. His day will end here. Just the numbers just got to match. That's all we ask. Herman now.
This is something you see a little bit more of as you get into the latter stages of the Cactus or Grapefruit League schedule. Teams playing for a run. 1-run ball game here in the bottom of the 6th. Herman showing bunt there on the first delivery from Oberg. Wouldn't think about doing that the first week of camp.
Well, 84 is running. There's just no 84 listed, so. He looks fast, I guess. Out of play. Terry McClure is the new left fielder for the Rockies. Herrera is at shortstop. Josh Fuentes at third. Noah's still in there at second. And Reynolds at first. So we're getting somewhere. Tapia has moved from left field to center, replacing Gerardo Parra.
Ready.
Rayburn still in right. 2-1 on Herman. Swing and a miss. There's a chance that's Gabriel Noriega running at first, although this was telling us he'd be wearing 85. He's down there, number 84. This is a tough play right there, and they can't make it. Yeah, they do. They got him. Herman is out. Nice recovery there by Reynolds, and Oberg gets over to cover.
Very nearly a bad collision there at first base as Oberg got over to cover the bag. You see Reynolds with the slight bobble. He stepped all the way across first base into foul territory just as Herman was getting to the bag. Fortunately, it looked like everybody came out of it okay.
Noriega, if that is indeed him, moves up. Jason Bourgeois now. Striker Trahan has moved into the on-deck circle. Get a look at him, a former D-back first-round pick. With the pitcher spot up next. Bourgeois 0 for 2 so far. And again, A.J. Pollock this morning took 5 at-bats in a camp game on a backfield here facing Archie Bradley, and he still has yet to play in a Cactus League game for a while now. Williams, a nice play, spins and throws to get Bourgeois as Noriega moves up 90 feet. And so here's striker Trahan. A guy that D-backs fans have heard a lot about, haven't got to see too much of him. First round pick by the Diamondbacks 4 years ago out of high school in Louisiana. 26th overall pick. He's 21 years old. He'll be 22 next month. And last year, striker played at 3 different levels. He played for Hillsborough, played for Kane County, and played at Visalia. And all told, hit 193 with 17 home runs. He's got good power. Left-hand hitter. He's one of these guys that was drafted as a catcher, and they, well, why don't you just worry about the offense, sort of like Peter O'Brien, and focus on something else. So they moved him to the outfield. They went back to catching, and he's kind of floated around a bit defensively. Played some right field, some left field as well. But in 2014, 2 years ago, had 19 home runs in the minor leagues. 17 last year. And is a career .224 hitter in the minors over parts of 4 seasons.
Very few moving parts for Trahan as he eyeballs Scott Oberg out there on the mound. You see hardly anything moves, just the slightest shift of weight to his back foot as that ball's being delivered. That front foot never comes off the ground.
Swings and misses. Jackson Williams picks it up and completes the strikeout. We'll go to the 7th inning. Diamondbacks trail the Rockies 6-5. And fans, Tuesday, it's the D-backs season preview. We'll get you ready for the new year. Get a first-hand look at the Zach Greinke signing, plus hear my interviews with Chip Hale and Paul Goldschmidt, along with what the national media has to say about the D-backs in 2016. It's the 2016 D-backs season preview show. It's presented by CenturyLink this Tuesday, 7 o'clock, only right here on Fox Sports Arizona. The big power right-hander Enrique Burgos is on to work the 7th. And he's got some changes behind him. It's a whole new battery. You see the numbers on Burgos this spring. A very good 1.42 ERA, and his split finger fastball has been a revelation lately for Enrique Burgos. The coaches have been encouraging him to throw it, and it has been absolutely filthy here from what we've seen so far. Daniel Rolfing is the new catcher, so a new battery for the Diamondbacks. Noriega stays in the game to play third. And here's something, Bob, we have been talking about all spring. I don't believe we've seen it yet. Could be wrong, but it's the first time we've seen it in a game you and I have done with Brandon Drury out there in left field. And that's another idea, how to get Brandon some more at-bats and find a place, a defensive home for those ABs. Here's McClure.
You got to believe Drury will handle himself well out there in left field. He's a guy that can move from second base to third base, can play a little first base if necessary. Obviously, it's a different perspective standing that far away from home plate, but he's a good enough athlete. I think he should be able to make the adjustment.
Hi, boy.
2-2. Terry McClure. Rolfing will complete the strikeout. One down for Burgos. A lot of competition for bullpen spots back there. Jake Barrett has been outstanding. Silvino Bracho has looked good. Enrique Burgos has looked good. Sam LaCure is in the mix as well. They did send Matt Reynolds, or option Matt Reynolds, to AAA Reno today. Evan Marshall, of course, in the mix. That is a fierce competition back there. Josh Fuentes. Ahmed at short. 2 outs. Tyler Clippard will stroll down to the bullpen mound, maybe start to get loose, as Reynolds steps in. Still 40 players in Diamondback camp. That means 15 need to be moved before opening day. It's 15 very difficult decisions at this point. That one bounces off the plate. And Chip said yesterday the next round of cuts will take place by tomorrow. And he's admitted it's going to be very tough. The D-backs, as he had said, have got a lot of guys that are deserving to stay here and a lot of guys that deserve to make the team, but you can only leave with 25. And some of these guys, Chip says, will have to understand that if you're not on that opening 25, that can change quickly in a heartbeat and can change at any moment, so you have to be ready. Because nobody wants, as you know, but who knows better than you, you've had to have those discussions. Nobody wants to be told, oh, you're going down.
Especially given the numbers that some of these guys have put up this year. You know, under different circumstances, some of the guys, especially on the offensive side, that have put up the numbers they have, would have no doubts they were going to make the opening day roster. But because everybody has hit, and that competition for spots has been so heated this spring, somebody that's put up good numbers is going to end up playing in Reno.
How long they stay there is another matter. The shift was on for Reynolds. Jamison has it behind the bag. That's 4-3 on the putout. And Burgos works a 1-2-3 inning. We stretch in Scottsdale. Diamondbacks down 1. Fields at Talking Stick. Diamondbacks trail at 6-5. Hey, plan to get the full 2016 collection of D-backs bobbleheads this year. The first in the series is the A.J. Pollock bobble, courtesy of Arizona Sports 98.7 FM. That's coming up April 23rd. The second bobblehead is Goldie, July 2. Zach Greinke's bobblehead, August 6th. And the Freight Train, David Peralta, September 17th. Collect all the bobbleheads this season by getting the tickets for those games at dbacks.com. And we'll see you at the ballpark. A lot of offense in this ball game for both sides. A tough day on which to pitch. And here's Justin Miller, the right-hander. He's had a rough spring. 8 hits and 6 2/3, but he does have 7 strikeouts. Nick Ahmed will lead it off. And more defensive changes for Colorado as they are emptying minor league camp. Ahmed has struck out looking, tripled and scored a run. He's 1 for 2. Nelson is the new second baseman. And Reyes has taken over in right field. Herrera at short, and Miller on the mound. Nick Ahmed has hit safely in 15 of his 17 games this spring. Tripled and scored his last time up. 11 extra base hits and 11 RBIs.
It's one of those games, partner. The Diamondbacks have had 3 tie games this spring. The Rockies have also had 3 tie games. Generally, the road team runs out of pitchers, and you have to just stop the game at that point. But since both teams train here at Salt River Field,
you're out of excuses.
I think we have unlimited number of bodies available in that clubhouse on either the right or left field line.
Although the one thing we do have, BB, going in our favor is this is a split squad game. Technically,
that's true. That's true.
I mean, the herd is thinned here. Tyler Clippard warming up. Yohan Lopez started a game for the Diamondbacks at Surprise against the Rangers. Colby Lewis. And so it was scheduled, and we emphasize the word scheduled, to be Lopez, Colementor, Barrett, Fleck, and Delgado up in Surprise today. But that doesn't mean they can't pull another 50 guys out of minor league camp and load them up. Go get them, kid. Miller's here in a minor league deal, signed in November of 2014. Became part of their bullpen last year, went 3-3. The ERA just a smidge over 4. He has the record, by the way. Set last September, he struck out at 1.8 straight batters. Justin Miller. And got his first big league save last September against the Diamondbacks. Full count on Nick Ahmed, 3-2. Headed for the seats. These two teams will see a whole lot of each other over this final week. 2 more meetings in spring training. They'll play Tuesday and Thursday. And then, of course, they open up against each other at Chase Field April 4, a week from tomorrow. Diamondbacks are at Scottsdale Stadium tomorrow night for a game against the Giants. And then here Tuesday afternoon to face the Rockies as Ahmed strikes out. Sean Jamieson now with 1 out.
took over at second for Gene Segura. Another multi-hit game for Segura. He was 2 for 3, a pair of singles. By the way, Walt Weiss the other day named his opening day starter for that game against the Diamondbacks. It'll be the veteran Jorge De La Rosa. He'll face Zach Greinke. Here's Walt Weiss. Somebody asked him why. He says, well, we're just going with our guy, and he's been our guy for a long time. That's very true at Coors Field, where he's actually been the most successful pitcher in the history of that ballpark. But his record at Chase Field career-wise, Jorge De La Rosa, is 1-7. Go get him.
Maybe should have saved him for the home opener.
Yeah. Chad Bettis will start the second game of that series against Shelby Miller. They have not named an order after that. Could be Jordan Lyles. Could be Tyler Chatwood. Bergman auditioning for that 5th starter spot here today. 1-2 on Jameson.
I love what I just saw there, partner. Brandon Drury's in the on-deck circle during Jameson's at bat here, and Mark Grace came out from the dugout, up the steps, and walked all the way up to the on-deck circle to impart some wisdom to Brandon Drury. That's part of the coaching that doesn't happen in the batting practice early in the day. Gracie possibly noticed something in the delivery of Miller or the sequence of pitches, or just something that got between his ears, and rather than sit on the bench and hope that Brandon Drury figures it out, Gracie walked up there and told him exactly what it was that was on his mind.
Two and two. That smashed down the left field line, almost hit Tyler Clippard, who's warming up down there, getting set to come into the ball game. Can you do that in a regular season game for the coach? I don't think I've ever seen that.
Usually they call the guy back. You know, somebody will whistle from the bench, and the guy in the on-deck circle will walk back to the bench and get words of wisdom from his hitting coach or one of the other coaches on the staff. But, you know, it's spring training, very casual. Gracie came out of the dugout with a towel wrapped around his neck.
Well, Gracie doesn't like to talk a lot anyway.
No.
You know, likes to keep it low-key usually.
Gracie probably wanted to grab a bat and hit.
He had enough of that in fantasy camp. The coaches had a tough time. Robbie Hammock had one team in fantasy camp this winter. I saw him that day. I said, how'd it go today? He said, we committed 10 errors. Guys were out there. Old guys were chasing balls. And the life of a fantasy camp manager.
I was reading between the lines. That might have been a good day for fantasy camp. Only 10.
Some years are better than others, but the campers all enjoy it. That's what matters.
I learned from doing San Francisco Giants fantasy camps, you can never draft enough pitching.
Yeah,
guys get sore. Oh man, by the end of the week they can't even play catch anymore.
It's an ordeal, man. I mean, they play a couple of games a day there for 5, 6, 7 days, and some guys don't make it to the end. 3-2. Nice at bat there by Jameson. He works a one-out walk.
Real nice at bat. That's good. Rips and pitches in the zone. Eventually takes a walk.
First walk issued by Colorado pitchers today in this game full of extra base hits. And Brandon Drury has had one of those. He doubled and scored in the first. He's 1 for 3.
That's the kind of walk that might have an effect on the rest of the inning. 10 pitches to draw that base on balls by Jameson.
He is the tying run at first base with 1 out. Drury coming off a 4-for-4 yesterday against the Brewers at Maryvale that included a home run. First pitch swinging, sky high pop up, shortstop side. Herrera wants it, drifting on him, and he's got it. Now we'll get a look at Kevin Cron.
And we're going to get a look at a new Rockies pitcher, as Walt Weiss has already signaled to the bullpen down the right field line and makes that slow walk out to the mound.
So that's it for Justin Miller. Pitching change. 7th inning. Back after this.
For the 2016 season, get tickets for the full season or choose from a half, a series, or even a weekend plan. Season ticket holders enjoy the lowest price per ticket and get access to exclusive events and experiences. Become a season ticket holder now by visiting dbacks.com.
The veteran lefty Boone Logan on for the Rockies. 515 career appearances. That makes him 16th among active pitchers. Appeared in 60 games for the Rockies last year. Kevin Cron is the D-backs hitter. And this is a guy to keep an eye on. Diamondbacks drafted him just 2 years ago out of TCU in the 14th round. And he put up big numbers last year for J.R. House at Class A Visalia. 272 and 27 homers in the Cal League. He knocked in 97 runs. 34 doubles in there as well. 6'5", 245. He's a huge kid, 23 years old. And just turned 23 last month. Of course, continuing the Cron family legacy of hitting. Brother CJ plays for the Angels. And Chris, the Diamondbacks hitting instructor.
You think he took any batting practice this winter before camp started?
A bit. Well, unless his father took down his batting cage in the backyard.
Yeah.
I've heard that happens from time to time. Jamison sneaks in a second. Of course, he played high school ball here in the area, Mountain Point, Phoenix. And when he came out of high school, Kevin Cron was a 3rd-round draft pick. Seattle got him in the 3rd round. That was ruled a wild pitch, no stolen base. But he wanted to play college ball, and like Gonzo's son Jacob, he went to TCU. Jacob is committed to Texas Christian. And was a 14th round pick coming out of TCU by the Diamondbacks in the 2014 draft. But he strikes out here. They strand the runner. 8th inning on the way. It's still 6-5 Rockies. Diamondbacks spring training baseball is live with the MLB.com at Bat app. You can stay connected all spring with radio broadcasts, video highlights, stats, news, and a whole lot more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your smartphone and tablet. New pitcher for the D-backs, one of the new acquisitions in the offseason, the veteran right-hander Tyler Clippard.
Spring training numbers probably not what Tyler had hoped for, but this is a veteran guy. You don't worry too much about his numbers in spring training, and he's a guy that relies a lot on that straight changeup as an out pitch, and guys that rely on off-speed pitches usually take a little bit longer to get into regular season shape down here in the Cactus League.
Reyes, the right fielder, leads it off. There's a strike on 1. Mentioned the other half of the Diamondbacks are playing right now up in Surprise against the Rangers, and Texas leads that one 5-4. Socrates Brito 0 for 3 with a walk. I'll find some of the highlights for you. It was another rough day, BB. At some point this is going to become a concern for Josh Colmenter. Josh this afternoon against the Rangers worked 3 innings, gave up 5 runs on 7 hits, including a home run. And Josh's ERA this spring is 9.69.
And he's another guy that relies on off-speed pitches, shows fastball, shows the cutter, and the velocity's been down a little bit with that fastball this spring. But like I said about Tyler Clippard, guys that rely on a straight changeup, usually it takes a while to get the feel back. Exactly how much do I need to take off that pitch to make it effective? And Colmenter, another guy that relies on that changeup a lot.
1-2. There it is from Tyler. That pitch has been so effective for him. 1 strikeout.
Now watch the downward movement on this pitch. Not only the change in velocity, but the movement on that pitch as it got into the hitting zone.
That is where he makes his money, that changeup, Tyler Clippard. Nelson, the second baseman. The veteran Chris Nelson, former first-round pick by the Rockies in 2004. Did not appear in the big leagues last year. He spent last season with the AAA affiliates of 3 different teams, the Nationals, the Phillies, and the Brewers. Last appeared in the big leagues 2 years ago with the Padres, played in 30 games. The 9th overall pick in the draft back in 2004. It is an inexact science. Hard to third, right to Noriego, snags it, 2 down. Well, we owed them a couple of those.
Yeah, definitely. Hard ball driven down that third baseline. Noriego, that's all reaction right there. Whoa, head high liner.
Smoked.
You don't get up, you go to center.
Two down now, Raimel Tapia. He started the game in left field and has since moved to center. And it's been a good day for him, 3 for 3. A double, he has scored twice. Diamondbacks made a big investment in Tyler Clippard. 2 years, $12.25 million of free agent deal signed last month. Thrown One at first. Nope, that's foul.
That's not the goalpost.
Clippard split last year between the A's and the Mets, wound up in the World Series, and now he's a Diamondback.
I was just going to say about Raimel Tapia. 3 hits in the ballgame, and he's looked like a left-handed slap hitter. He let the ball get deep in the zone, flip it out to left field. Got one in the gap for an extra base hit, and this at bat he's trying to go deep.
And that's generally what happens when slap hitters try to go deep.
Yeah.
2 strikeouts in the inning for Tyler Clippard. Diamondbacks down 1. By Cox. A lot of Diamondbacks offense in this one. After Brandon Drury had a double in the first, Peralta and Tomas back-to-back 2-out RBI doubles. Made it 2-0 D-backs. And then they pounded away here. Dean Segura in the 5th, the RBI single. And Goldie, there it goes. His 3rd home run this spring, his 2nd in as many games. He homered yesterday at Maryville. That one a 2-run shot. And the Diamondbacks, with 9 hits, 5 runs, trail the Rockies 6-5 as we're set for the bottom of the 8th inning. And the new pitcher for Colorado, the big right-hander, Simon Castro. Tyler Massey also takes over in center field, replacing Tapia. So Castro on the mound and Massey in center for the Rockies. And there he is as we're set for the bottom of the 8th inning. Todd Glazeman, the right fielder, leads it off. 4 hits and 11 at-bats this spring. He's knocked in 3. Glazeman last year, 31 doubles and 19 homers. He played at 3 different levels in the Diamondback system. Visalia, Mobile, and Reno. Hit 278. Spent most of last year with the AAA Aces playing for Phil Nevin down there. He's a 3rd-round pick out of Waco, Texas, back in '09 by Tampa Bay. And just a few years ago, Todd Glazeman was named the best power hitter in the Rays organization. Also got some votes for their best outfield arm. He was their organizational player of the year 4 years ago. But is now here in the Diamondback system. He did not go 1 and 2. Diamondbacks got him as part of that 3-team deal that ended the Heath Bell experience. Heath went to Tampa Bay. David Holmberg, former D-back prospect, went to Cincinnati. And Glazeman ended up here. Foul ground. Reynolds will give it a look. The Heath Bell experience.
It was an experience, all right.
It sure was. Some good, some bad. Gabriel Noriega now, the third baseman.
That's the life of a closer.
Rockies have still not named their closer. A chance it could be Mott, it could be McGee, who they got from Tampa Bay. Oh, Weiss ain't saying. Andrew Chafin warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. Looks like he'll get the ninth. Oh, 2. D-backs stuck on 9 hits right now. They have recorded at least 10 hits in 22 of their 28 games this spring. And there's number 10. Noriega slaps it the other way. A 1-out single.
Nice approach by Noriega that time. Behind in the count. Got a pitch out over the plate. Didn't try to pull it. That's actually a pretty good slider out there on the outside corner. Nice approach. Got his weight out on the front foot, but kept his hands back and shot it into right field for a base hit.
The catcher, Daniel Wolfing now. D-backs have been out hit 11-10. They trail at 6-5. Oh, 2. Called strike 3. Got the outside corner. Rings up Wolfing.
Tough pitch right there. Tough to hit, tough to take. Right on the corner at the knees. Not much you can do about that one.
Jason Bourgeois, who they need to get a close look at here with A.J. Pollock's status in doubt, will get his 4th at bat in the ballgame. So far 0 for 3. Noriega, the tying run over there with 2 outs.
Yeah, no, he's good. You ready? Yeah.
A lot of fans chose to spend their Easter Sunday with us. 9,715 to the ballpark today. On a gorgeous Easter Sunday in Scottsdale, Arizona. Noriega holds. That pitch is in there for a strike. 0-1. Bourgeois has been an effective bat up there lately. He's got an RBI in 6 of his last 7 games. He's knocked in 14 this spring. Another guy who was a candidate for the center field job if A.J. Pollock would not be able to go for opening day would be Evan Marzilli, who's had a very nice camp here, but Evan has a little bit of a groin injury right now. We haven't seen him in about a week. And that's clearly a setback for him. Not great timing. And so in terms of him possibly making the opening day roster in that center field mix, Evan Marzilli a little setback here this week. 1-1 on Bourgeois. This is a bouncer to shortstop. Herrera goes to Nelson for the force on Noriega. And that gets us to the ninth. Diamondbacks trail at 6-5. .6-5. Hey fans, Friday the Diamondbacks take on the world champion Royals at Chase Field. It's presented by Ram Trucks. Coverage begins at 6. It's the D-Back Live pregame show on Fox Sports Arizona Plus. And to find out the Plus channel listings, just log on to foxsportsarizona.com. They'll have them all for you, tell you where to find Fox Sports Arizona Plus for that game Friday against the defending World Series champs. That will be a Brenly-free telecast. What? Wait, what?
That's what fans have been waiting for.
You got cut the last week of camp?
Yeah. Thought I had the team made. Got a little cocky, a little overconfident.
Jeff Montgomery, former Royals great, who we had on our broadcast when we did a game against the Royals earlier this spring, will fill in for Beebe, who was on grandpa duty that weekend. Which is busy and getting busier.
Yes, indeed. The girls just keep coming.
Jackson Williams, the catcher, leads it off against the new pitcher, Andrew Chafin. Williams, over the past 2 seasons, has been a Giant and a Rocky, now back with Colorado. Former first-round pick by the Giants in the 07 draft out of Oklahoma, but he has played a total of just 14 games in the major leagues. 1-2. Williams last year, the Giants AA team in Richmond, hit .228 with 1 home run. And Chafin records a strikeout. Have an update on that other Diamondback game. Up against the Rangers in Surprise. Diamondbacks lost that game 5-4. It's now gone final. Colby Lewis the win for Texas. Josh Colmenter the loss. He's 0-2. Home runs in that game for the D-backs. Chris Owings hit his second, and Phil Gosselin hit his third. Jake Lamb also 2 for 4 in that ball game. Gosselin 2 for 4. But a rough day for Josh Colminter, as we reported earlier. Josh worked 3 innings, gave up 5 runs, all earned on 7 hits, including a home run. Prince Fielder got him for a homer in the 5th, the second of the spring for Fielder. So it's a 5-4 final in Surprise. Texas beats the Diamondbacks.
Gosselin and Owings with big days over in Surprise today, just adding to that confusion in the middle infield mix.
It's just amazing, isn't it? Here's Tyler Massey, the new center fielder. Drury's out there in the outfield. They're trying to find him some ABs out there maybe. There's been talk they'd think about Chris Owings in center field if it came to that. Who knows? Swing and bunt. Chafin's on it. 2 outs. Carlos Herrera now, the shortstop. Of course, the Royals, when we televised that game for you Friday at Chase Field, the final 2 spring games of the year, Friday and Saturday against Kansas City at Chase Field, they open up their regular season in the Sunday night game against the Mets, a rematch of the World Series. So most of the Royals regulars after that Friday game may hit the road. And then the Diamondbacks open up the Monday against these Rockies. Jorge De La Rosa for Colorado and Zach Greinke for Arizona. A bouncer to second for Jamison. Chafin works a 1-2-3 ninth. Bottom 9 coming up. Diamondbacks down 1. His second home run this weekend, second in as many games, a 2-run homer, his third this spring. David Peralta 2 for 3. In a game full of extra base hits, the D-backs and the Rockies, but it's 6-5 Colorado as we start the bottom of the 9th inning. And here's the new pitcher for the Rockies. It's Jason Gurka. A good year last year in the minor leagues. So here we go, 6-5 9th inning. Zach Nauer leads it off. Ahmed on deck. Good year at Hillsborough. And a nice play by the shortstop Herrera to get him.
Not much of an argument, but an awfully close play down there at first base. Herrera, nice job going deep in the hole that time. Really got on top, made the overhand throw across the diamond. I'm not so sure about that.
Nick Ahmed tripled and scored in the 5th. 1 for 3.
Nick Ahmed and Jason Bourgeois, Ironmen today, going all 9 innings. That usually means an off day the next day, but we'll see how Chip plays it tomorrow.
Diamondbacks tomorrow night at Scottsdale Stadium to take on the Giants. And Nick Ahmed 2 for 4, his second hit today. He's the tying run with 1 out. Brings up the second baseman, Sean Jamison. D-backs have not named a starter for that game tomorrow night. Not yet anyway. Chris Heston is scheduled to pitch for San Francisco. Cody Regis is on deck. He would be next.
Dude, went this a little too far off the line.
0-1. The key I've discovered is let someone else figure out who it is and then swoop in at the end.
And hope they're right.
Correct.
So I have a double safety. I wait till somebody else says it, and then I wait again until you say it. Because once you say it, it's true.
I'll be the first man over the top.
Hey, good man for 2 right here. Double play ball.
It's just guesswork at this point.
Gert.
It's going to be hard to do a game when each team only has 25 guys.
Yeah.
Instead of 80.
You see guys get 2 at bats and grab their duffel bag and head for the clubhouse. Hey, wait a minute. This is for real.
Fair ball down the left field line, and here we go. Nick Ahmed's the tying run. Matt Williams going to wave him home, and he will score. It's 6-6. A little shot of Jamison there for you.
Nice, I like it. Right down the stripe, got a pitch down and in, turned on it past the third baseman, Nick Ahmed, motoring around those bags.
And now the winning run is at second base with 1 down. Regis. .290 last year, and A-ball, Kane County. He's a Cal Bear. .290, a homer, 58 RBI, stole 10 bases. He played everywhere at Kane County. Played first base, second base, third base, left field. out of Glendora, California. 2-0 pitch. I think we're just setting up for a big Kevin Cron walk-off homer.
I like it.
He's on deck. Hit one like Peter O'Brien did yesterday at Maryvale over the center field hitting background. 2-2. Of course, Cody Reach is trying to be the hero right now. He was born in Tucson, grew up in Glendora, California. Two and two. Yes, he went. 2 outs, and it's up to Cron. A lot of power here. 27 homers at Visalia last year for J.R. House in the Cal League. He knocked in 97. He's up there in a 6-6 game, 2 outs, winning run at second. Ball one.
Had a pitch up and out over the plate that time. It wasn't a fastball, off-speed delivery, and got Cron out front just a little bit.
Well, he is Adam Dunn big up there.
Yeah, he is.
6'5", 245. Two balls and a strike. You can hear Chip Hale out in front of the Diamondback bench. Now he's walking into the dugout to have a little chat with Nick Ahmed. 2-1 on Kevin Cron. A little late, 2-2. Well, you could show a movie on this guy's back. That's a triple XL shirt right there.
His last name only has 4 letters, so kind of wasted.
2-2. Got him. Willems will complete the strikeout. And let's see what we want to do here. Hold on. Umpires are checking with both benches. I think we're going to play one more inning.
Sounded like Chip was saying one more from our field mic over there on the third base side.
So we'll go one more. Diamondbacks tie it up to the 10th at 6-6. 6-6 in the 10th. Diamondbacks and Rockies, a preview of the opening day matchup. April 4 at Chase Field. Miles Smith checks into the ball game for the Diamondbacks. He is the new pitcher.
Big time strikeout numbers in the minor leagues last season. 54 punch outs in 38 2/3 innings pitched.
Pitched last year for just about everybody. He was at Hillsborough, Kane County, Visalia, and Reno. It's a pretty busy year. And then finished up with some time in the Fall League. Pitched 7 games in the Fall League here for the Salt River Rafters. He's from Dearborn, Michigan. Originally a 4th round pick by the Red Sox in the draft 3 years ago. Terry McClure leads off the Colorado 10th. He struck out against Enrique Burgos his last time up. Miles Smith is out of Lee University. That's in Cleveland, Tennessee.
That's a new one.
Yeah, it sure is. That's where Boston found him in the draft 3 years ago. 4th rounder. Most of his time last year, the majority of appearances with the Class A Kane County in the Midwest League. 29 strikeouts in 21 1/3 innings. Just turned 24 years old a few days ago, Miles Smith. McClure, Fuentes, and Reynolds, 2, 3, and 4, the scheduled hitters in the Colorado 10th inning. Rolfing completes the strikeout, 1 down. Josh Fuentes now.
Come on.
1-1. Hard to short. Ahmed tries to backhand it and knocks it down. He's got no play.
Ball was hit very hard. I'm sure Nick will tell you he should have made that play right there, but hit like a bullet on one hop right at his ankles, just about a step to his right. Couldn't come up with it cleanly. By the time he got to it, Fuentes is on at first.
With 1 out for Mark Reynolds, who's gone the distance here for the Rockies. He walked and scored in the 3rd, singled in the 5th. E6, an error charged to Nick Ahmed on that play.
That ball in the dirt, Josh.
Rolls away from Rolfing. Fuentes at second now.
Mumpy.
2-1. Going to be interesting to see how Mark Reynolds' power plays at Coors Field this year. 13 homers in 140 games in St. Louis last season, his only year as a Cardinal. He turned out to be a big acquisition after they lost Matt Adams for the season against the Diamondbacks very early in the year. Blocked by Rolfing back there. 3-1 now.
Well, if you're an offensive player looking to jumpstart or restart your career, I can't think of a better place to go than Coors Field. Especially a guy that hits as many fly balls as Mark Reynolds does.
Three-one misses. It's ball four.
All righty, let's go.
So 2 on and 1 out. And now it'll be Randy Reyes. Mike Butcher on the left, Chip Hale on the right. A lot of decisions to be made here. They still have to move 15 players.
Not a bad walk to Mark Reynolds right there. I'm sure Smith would have liked to have retired him, but with a base open and a dangerous potential home run hitter at the plate, 1 out in the inning, the walk sets up a potential inning-ending double play right here.
Randy Reyes struck out against Tyler Clippard in his previous at bat. That was to lead off the 8th. And there's a strike, 0-1. I looked down in the lineup when we got here this morning. I saw Reyes on there. I thought, wait, that's not right.
That can't be right.
Turned out it was Randy Reyes, no relation to Jose. He was still suspended.
Come on, Nelly.
In the air, right center, Bourgeois still out there. He'll give way to Glaseman, who's got it. Runners hold, and that's the second out.
Talked about it earlier in the ball game with David Peralta and Jason Bourgeois, but it comes up again here in the 10th inning. Great communication out there. Jason Bourgeois moving to his left from center field, lost that ball in the sun.
Yeah, it just kind of hung up there on him.
Hey, let Glaseman know, hey, I don't see it, I don't see it. And Robbie came over and made the play.
Chris Nelson.
Rather Todd, excuse me, Todd Glaseman.
First and second, 2 outs.
Come on, Nelly.
Go ahead, Nelly.
I mentioned Chris Nelson, 9th overall pick in the draft back in 04 out of Pasadena City College. First round selection by these Rockies. Didn't break into the big leagues until 2010. And played parts of 4 seasons with Colorado, but he's bounced around ever since. He was traded to the Yankees 3 years ago. Waived and picked up by Anaheim. Was twice released by the Reds. He's also been with the Padres, the Phillies, the Brewers, the Nationals, and now back where it all started with the Rockies. Uh-oh, this is really well hit. Right center. Nobody's going to get this one. It's rolls to the wall. Fuentes scores. They're waving Reynolds home, and Nelson is in there with a 2-run triple.
Splits the gap perfectly out there in right field. Just a middle of the plate fastball. Nelson slashes that ball into the gap. By the time the Diamondbacks are able to get it back in, the Rockies have tacked on 2.
Rockies at third in what is now an 8-6 ball game. Dustin Garneau, the hitter now. Garneau 174 this spring. He's just 4 for 23. First pitch swinging in the air, left-hand side, Noriega. But the Nelson two-run triple makes it 8-6 Rockies as we go to the home half of the 10th here in Scottsdale. Pitcher for Colorado. It's the former Chicago Cub, the right-hander Brian Schlitter, he said carefully.
Very carefully. Don't recognize Brian Schlitter. His days with the Cubs, he had long hair down over the name on the back of his jersey. Now it's on the front side.
10 appearances with the Cubs last year, and it was a rough go. 7 innings, gave up 6 runs, 12 hits. And he's here trying to win a job with the Rockies. Big guy out there at 6'5", 235. Out of the College of Charleston in South Carolina. Diamondbacks got 1 in the 9th to force 1 extra inning. Rockies got 2 in the 10th on the Nelson 2-run triple. So here we go. 12 hits apiece. Diamondbacks trail at 8-6, and Todd Glazeman leads it off. Glazeman popped up in his first at bat. 4 for 12 this spring. He's driven in 3 runs. Glazeman last year, most of his time at AAA Reno, 90 games there, just over 90 games. And he did well, hit .286 with 14 home runs. 1-1 pitch is in the dirt.
Good hitters count here at 3-1. This is a guy struggling to find the strike zone. Really have to zone him in right here. 1 pitch, 1 location. Otherwise, take the base on balls, set it up. Need a runner to score 2 this inning.
Gets headed for the seats. Noriega on deck, then Rolfing the catcher after him. Full count, 3-2. Base hit. Blaisman gets it started, tying run at the plate. Gabriel Noriega now. Noriega last year in the Royals system, where he played for 3 different teams. Played rookie ball there, AA, AAA. And then after the year went home to Venezuela to play some winter ball. Years old. He's been in the Seattle and Kansas City systems. And last year had only just under 150 minor league plate appearances at 246. He's got himself a base hit, slaps it the other way. Blaisman stops at second. First 2 have reached.
That was nice hitting right there. Got a breaking ball working away from him. Knew he had that big hole in the right side of the field. Just shot it through there into right, putting runners at first and second. Nobody out. Rolling curveball. Noriega stayed right on it.
Michael Perez will be the hitter. 5th round pick by the Diamondbacks in the 2011 draft. 23-year-old from Puerto Rico. Left-hand hitter. Last year split the season between Kane County and Visalia. Hit .210 with 4 homers. Blaisman is at second. Noriega the tying runs at first. And nobody out. Not a play. Perez, parts of 5 seasons in the minors. He's a .233 career hitter. Drifting near the Diamondback dugout, and it's out of play.
Perez trying to end this thing with one swing of the bat, taking a couple of real healthy cuts to fall behind in the count 0-2.
Jason Bourgeois is on deck. He'll be next. He's gone the distance in center field today. Got him. 94, the fastball up for the first out here in the 10th. A chance for Bourgeois, who may or may not be the opening day center fielder. And again, A.J. Pollock played in a minor league game yesterday. And 5 at-bats in a camp game this morning, facing Archie Bradley on a backfield here. Center field a little up in the air right now. There's a strike. Chip Hale said today that gut feeling for him is AJ will be ready for the opener against these Rockies on Monday. A week from Monday, I should say. But Bourgeois getting a long look here this afternoon. 0-1. Evan Marzilli is out of the mix for right now. He's got a slight groin injury. So in terms of center field, once you get by A.J. Pollock, it's pretty much Brito and Bourgeois. But Bourgeois today, 0 for 4. An RBI in 6 of his last 7 games. Winning run at the plate, 1 out. 2-2. Broken bat, chopper to shortstop, Herrera, Nelson, and they turn it. And that'll end the ball game. 8-6 is the final. So the Diamondbacks, who were beaten in surprise today by the Rangers, lose here as well. 8-6 at Salt River Field. Rockies take it.
Well, had some offense today, 14 hits and 6 runs. That unfortunately just wasn't enough against this Rockies team, and they didn't have their full complement of big leaguers in there today. We know the Rockies are going to hit. We know they're going to score a bunch of runs. During the regular season, Diamondbacks are going to have to find a way to get on that board against them themselves.
They will face the Rockies 2 more times this week in spring training games. Then, of course, open up against Colorado at Chase Field a week from Monday with Zach Greinke facing Jorge De La Rosa. Diamondbacks drop this one 8-6, still on 20 spring training wins. Our next TV game is Friday from Chase Field against the Kansas City Royals. D-backs spring training back on Friday on Fox Sports Arizona Plus. From Scottsdale, it's so long, everybody.